Kestrel Country podcast, where we discuss the people, places, and events all around Kestrel Country.
Well, we're doing a repeat. Well, not a total repeat, but we're getting Betsy and Megan back again on the podcast. But this time, instead of spring, we're talking fall. Mm-hmm. Everything's dying, but there's still a lot to do in the garden. So specifically, there's two questions we wanted to address today. And I know we're going to go talk about other things because that's just how it goes. But we wanted to talk about when to plant bulbs. And second, how to do dahlias. Specifically the tubers, how to take care of them and get them to winter. Okay. So we'll start with bulbs because that's the broader topic. And then we'll move into dahlias.
Great.
So bulbs, Betsy, you said you don't do a lot of fall gardening.
I don't do a lot of fall gardening, and I haven't done bulbs for a while just because our house came with a lot of bulbs and I actually ended up pulling up a bunch. But the last time I planted bulbs, I remember that I was planting them as one of the political candidates was wandering around trying to get people to vote. So I think it was the last week of October.
Okay.
Is the last time I remember planting bulbs. And so that's kind of just my guideline. I figure as long as the ground is soft enough to dig in, I can probably still plant bulbs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've done it pretty late. I feel like I've even done it when there's no snow on the ground, maybe January, when you've just even had a little bit of time. Not ideal, but even if you can just get something into the soil.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you buy a bag at Costco and forget.
Yes.
Don't give up hope. Just keep them somewhere cold.
Yeah.
And then get them in when you can.
Yeah. So for our climate, what do you plant, Megan?
Alliums. I've got a bunch of daffodils on the way and some more tulips. Okay. I was just listening to someone, at least in England, say you cannot plant tulips until November because of tulip disease.
Oh.
The tulips you have to wait the longest for. You want it to be very cold because of the ways they can have some weird fungus.
Oh,
so
interesting.
That was helpful
to
me.
Procrastinators.
Yeah.
Yes, they're excellent, which has seemingly worked out for me. Yeah. So that, and I'm kind of going to just probably end of October pop in the alliums. I got some extra ones from Costco.
And those spread like crazy.
Yes.
Once they get going, it's hard to get them to stop going, but they're so fun. And I like those too. If you let the, once it actually flowers, if you let it dry, you can use it in fall arrangements, and it's just, they're gorgeous.
They're so fun. I love seeing them around town. There was one week this last spring where they were just everywhere, just like purple fireworks in everybody's yards, and I really love seeing them around.
Yeah.
I need some of those.
Yes. And some of them come earlier and some are later. And then my favorite that I planted was the Allium sphaerocephalon, which is the more, it looks like a little chicken drumstick. It's shaped as an oval, not as a circle. Oh. And they're more petite. But those really, they came just when some a lot of things were dying, and they just give a huge structural element to bouquets.
Are they still purple? Or are they different?
Then they just fade.
Okay.
So they're a purple, and then they fade to a brown, and then, they probably don't have as much structure, but they have a lot of pop.
Yeah.
They have them at Costco right now.
Oh.
100 of them for $12.99.
See, that's a good price.
I didn't see drumstick shaped ones.
No, I didn't.
Well,
they're Costco.
They're like ovals.
I'm just going to adjust them really quick. Sorry. Oh, no,
Yeah,
it's not you.
I can't quite hear her in my headphones.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
Yes. There we go.
Very good.
Yeah.
I did get some tulip bulbs at Costco because I had really great success with some anemones that I got there this spring. So I was like, for $13,
Worth a try.
I will try that.
Yeah. I threw mine in the fridge until I plant them.
Oh.
And I have not done that.
Okay.
And then they've started to sprout out in the garage, and then you lose them. So I think that's another procrastinator tip.
Yeah, that is a good one. If you have fridge space, throw it in the fridge.
Yeah, like the garage fridge, just tuck them in there.
Yeah. No, I haven't ever done that. But the Costco bags seem to do really well. They have good quality bulbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've also ordered from Dutch Grown. Have you ever tried those? So it's fun, especially if you're getting a ton of bulbs. Then you order daffodils. They come in a crate in bags, black plastic. It feels like a milk crate, except it's flatter. And that's super fun. Yeah. But they've been good quality stuff. We have to fight the underground rodents eating our things too. They don't touch daffodils. Nothing touches daffodils.
Right.
It's fantastic. But if you're thinking strategically in terms of the elongating flowers blooming in the spring, what's your go-to?
Layering different kinds of bulbs.
All together in the same spot.
Well, just having variety there early, mid, and late. I'm trying to hit all of those notes. I don't know if I've quite gotten it yet, but just kind of looking at when they're going to bloom or what am I missing? Okay, I had a lot of early spring blooms. I need a few more that are mid.
Yeah.
And just kind of noting that on the growing conditions.
Yeah.
When.
And most packages will say on it if it's an early, mid, or late.
And they'll tell you the depth too, because that's the other issues. How deep do you plant them? I mean, so it can be overwhelming. It can seem like there's a lot, but even if you don't pay attention to that, you'll probably be successful.
Fine. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think planting bulbs is something you have to do. And if you do, one person digs the hole or, and pops it out, somebody else pops it in and taps it down, it goes a lot faster.
Yeah.
And I would add from a design standpoint, and I don't know if you can corroborate this or not, but I really do not actually enjoy putting daffodils front and center because the leaves last for so long and just fall over and look bad, but you can't pull them off yet. You can't cut them off yet.
Right.
Tulips seem to fade a lot faster and you can pull the stems and the leaves. So I don't mind putting those like in a front border, but daffodils, I definitely relegate to like the backs or like behind a perennial that's going to pop up faster and hide that because my front entryway is all daffodils and I'm not a fan of it in the later springtime. Yeah. They just kind of flop over and look messy.
Yeah. So what would you suggest as your perennial border that's lower than a daffodil that would be green by the time they're turning yellowy? I know, trick question.
Yeah, I don't need pots.
You could put crocuses. Those would come a little earlier. Something fun to look at. Or galanthus, the snowdrops.
Oh, yeah. The snowdrops, those are the first things here.
I love seeing those out.
Yeah.
So much
And they
joy.
literally do come in the snow. It's fantastic.
So encouraging.
Which is needed here in the Palouse because you're so ready for spring.
Yeah.
I have a hot tip.
Yes.
2 bulbs that you can get at Costco that you can have when the alliums start to fade.
Okay.
I found that I had underplanted the alliums and liatris together, blazing star.
Okay.
And the blazing star just took over and covered up all the bare spots as the alliums started to fade.
That's good.
Just get a bag of each and interplant them.
Okay. And they were at Costco. So liatris or liatris.
Yeah, however you say it.
Because I actually don't know either. I always called it liatris.
Yeah. And it's like a purple.
Yeah.
It looks like little purple fireworks going up, a sparkler of purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we would use them in cut bouquets, because they're such a good, tall, upright flower.
And if you get a packet at Costco, I think there's 100. I cut them for bouquets. And I also had plenty of them still in the yard.
See, that's fantastic. And then anybody do irises?
I tried the little flag irises, and they've never bloomed. I've had them in my yard for 10 years, and they've never bloomed.
But they come up with
come up every year. Yeah, they're like, "Hi, we're still here. Keep watering us, but we're not going to do anything for you.
You're not getting a flower."
Yeah.
And then we had bearded iris behind our house out in Troy, and it like literally someone had thrown them in the field, and they would not stop.
Oh yeah, you can't stop the huge ones. Yeah.
So
Because we have those, and so there's a mixed bag for me in terms of liking and appreciating because it does come color, and all of ours are purple. But there's some gorgeous irises out there,
and they smell amazing.
Oh,
like if you cut them, and they're not like overpowering like
Okay.
hyacinths that you can grow outside.
Yes.
That,
we didn't talk about
if you
hyacinths.
force those inside, it will overpower a room really easily, I think. But the irises you can cut and bring in, and it's just like a gentle, sweet fragrance, and it's not like an overly sweet kind of thing. So,
well, and I think if you look for fun ones, because I do think the iris can get, bad mouth.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I understand it. It's not my favorite flower.
Yeah.
But there is a place for all the fun, all of these different ones that you can use them. It's just finding out how.
Well, and Floret has a guide to irises. So if you really want to go find a bunch, go sign up for their little free thing, and they'll send you all these pretty options, and you can look them up online.
Yeah.
I have not done irises yet. But
I was going to say, they seem kind of like a grandma flower to me,
They do.
which means they're probably coming back in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Because
we inherited them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we inherited them with the house, which is really fun.
Yeah.
But it is at this level of appreciation and learning more about them.
yeah, for sure.
But you mentioned hyacinth, and we failed to talk about hyacinth.
Yes.
And those do really well out here in the Palouse. And they're deer proof, it seems like, from our experience. And gopher proof and all the things proof, because that's what we have to fight against. But you can get them in, like we have this gorgeous pink color that's not the light pink, it's a hot pink, and it's just, and you can get ones with different flowers that are more star shaped, So dig around on the different types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Van Engelen bulbs has a lot of good ones. Brent and Becky's, they have a lot of selection. I don't know. It's time to buy bulbs.
Yeah, it is.
People have been buying them. So some of the specialty varieties disappear
be gone.
early, but that's okay. There's just so many beautiful options other than just in the local Moscow area.
Yeah.
It's fun to look online, I think.
And then just check your zone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
6B, right? Or 6B.
Oh no. See, out where I am, I'm like 4.
Yeah.
That's more
Really?
where I
Yeah.
try to stick to that.
Maybe
5.
5 in town, but yeah, anywhere outside of town, I'm like 4.
We're cold.
Hard 4.
We're cold.
Yeah.
And we get a frost early and a frost late.
Man, I'm way too generous to myself.
Well,
then.
no, not necessarily because you're up on a hill. And it is even amazing. Just my in-laws are about a mile apart. We're closer to Moscow Mountain. We're down in a valley and the fog just comes and sits. And so we get frosted before they do even, it seems like. And the temperature difference can be just that much from them being up on the hill. And us
Have you
being
guys
low.
frosted yet?
No, we haven't yet.
Okay.
But we usually get an early frost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Earlier than even town.
Yeah, I would say so. Troy's also tends to be cold.
Yeah.
They tend to be behind. The fun part about that is that we're in such a small area that when it is springtime, our lilacs bloom later than in town. So it extends some of these growing seasons if you have friends or cutting gardens in various locations, and then you can go out and have a longer season, longer peonies and all of that, which is really fun. Oh, we're talking about the wrong season now.
Sorry.
That's my fault. So let's jump to dahlias.
Okay.
Now Megan's the expert on dahlias.
I'm the first year newbie, so I have all the questions.
So good. And I'm going to let you fire away because I dug mine one year and had them in a bag ready to go. And then it might have happened that they got thrown away because I had not labeled, I don't believe. And it just got thrown. Well, I mean, they don't look like anything. It looks like trash.
Yep. It's true.
So Megan, go for the tips.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got to have a frost with the dahlias. This was a really hard year for dahlias. Again, it was very late, very slow. I've got some that are still tiny and some that are looking their normal size. So for anyone who tried, this was not the easiest year. Don't give up. But I'm going to wait for a frost, a nice hard frost, and then all of the plants will start toppling. Chop them off, and then I will dig up the tubers. And I usually just dig them up and gently put them in my wheelbarrow, rinse them off, get as much dirt off as possible. Last year, I did not divide them. I left them in bigger clumps. I realized I needed to cut more of the stalk off because that's what rots the most. So don't be afraid to get the stalk all the way close.
Okay, so explain what that would mean. What are they looking for? I know, and we need a diagram.
You just see all these like fingers. Some are fat, some are long. Depends on the breed of the dahlia. And then the stalk is just where the plant came up out of it, and that will decompose and have more moisture. So if you cut it closer to the tuber base, you're good. With tubers, the thing you have to have in order to have a viable tuber is a part of that original stalk with the tuber. So you need a little neck with a piece of it on. I think the easiest thing, if somebody's going to do it for the first time this year, is wash them off, cut them in fourths if they're large, because then you're going to have a nice size to work with. And then maybe rinse them up a little bit more, let them dry out. And I put them in cedar chips in a big bin.
Like a plastic bin?
Yeah, like a plastic bin. And I put the lid on and I check for moisture. And
Do you drill any holes at all?
I left the lids a little popped.
And no
first.
mice?
I didn't have any mice.
Okay.
You just store them in the garage?
I did.
Okay.
At first, I stored them in a basement of an empty spot, and that probably helped my temperature control for the first part of the year. But I think if you do the fourths, you're not going to damage them. You're going to have you can plant that fourth and have a really strong plant. If you separate them all into ones, the first year the plant can be really, really healthy, but sometimes it takes a little bit more of an oomph. So that's just a good bet. Okay. If you don't get around to separating them and you just pack them in, you can look how to separate them when they sprout in the spring, because you'll see sprouts coming or eyes, and that's a great way to know how to divide them. We could do a dividing.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. If you want me to bring some tubers and show you how to do it.
Yeah. I think that'd be fun.
I'll do it.
And then cedar chips. Where do you buy those locally?
Spence.
Okay.
Yeah, just bought some pine chips or whatever, cedar chips. That seemed to work. You can do vermiculite. That's more expensive if you're not a bulk gardener. Some other people, they store things. Everybody has a little different method. You can look online, watch a few videos. I feel like having a gamut to look at kind of helps get the idea.
Yeah. I think sometimes too, it can be overwhelming to have so many thoughts and trying to get it just perfectly and just so. And then just go for one method and just go for it.
Yeah. I think Ashley just took hers out and put them in the garage and Mackenzie leaves hers with dirt. And
they dry out.
And they dry out, and the dirt kind of seals them up, and she leaves them in her green, in a cold spot. And so there's lots of different ways.
Yeah.
If you get dahlia tubers surviving and making it happen, yes, that's great. If not, hopefully I will, and I'll sell you some.
Yes. But you'll give us some warning before you're about to list them so that we can be sitting there waiting. Just like,
I know.
claim.
That was fun. I didn't think everybody would be that excited, but I'm glad people are getting excited about dahlias around here.
Yeah.
It's good.
It was a fun way to experiment with it and be like, I can try this.
Good.
Yeah.
Because online they're more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to necessarily invest.
Well, and then you're doing what's been here, what's been successful here. So it's been proven.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Betsy, did you actually grow some this year then?
Yes, I grabbed 3 from her. I grabbed 2 that you had already sprouted that were in soil and were already growing, and then 1 that was just still in the cedar chips.
Yes.
And the ones that had already sprouted definitely did better.
Yeah, they got a head start.
So I'm going to do that next spring with the tuber if they survive.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. And interestingly enough, the ones that had already been started are the ones that have bloomed, and the one that was just a tuber has not bloomed yet. It has buds, but I also figure it's just the year has been bad for it.
A hard year.
Yeah. So, but I really loved, I've never liked dahlias before, partly because I thought they were too fussy. I didn't want to have to bother with the digging and things. But I think now that my kids are older and I have more time to devote to it, I'm like, I could try this. And I like mixing them in to a border. I don't like just, straight dahlia gardens. That's not my thing. But I really liked how quickly they grew in the spring, unlike a perennial or something like that. I loved how quickly they shot up. That was really fun and encouraging in a new border that I had put in. And I just love the color out there and going out to check on them and stuff like that. So I'll be dividing them up and spreading them out. And I took my can of spray paint out and marked out the new beds that
I love it. Oh, spring. Yes. Very good.
So So I really like them. And I figured that if I like them this year, then I'll like them even more in a better year.
And then you find another one that's really fun. And then you get 80 varieties.
Yeah.
Is that how many you're at?
Yeah.
But you keep them separated so you know which ones are which?
Right.
I will take a permanent marker and write on the tubers. That's the best way to do it that I found.
And but then once they're in the garden, how are you keeping track?
I have them all labeled.
Okay. So you have row markers, or what are you using?
I have just a little plastic marker in each.
By every single plant. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I hope it works. I hope I still can. We'll see.
You haven't dug them yet this year because we haven't had the frost. So we frost, we dig, we divide. You mentioned jumping to the springtime that she had started some. So you planted them in soil indoors.
Yeah, I wanted to get a head start because they really want to be in soil that's 60 degrees. And we don't get soil that's 60 degrees very early. June, I know, June or July.
August.
It's a lot easier in Seattle. So I just thought, I saw somebody, just plop them in and just sprout them. I also did cuttings and grew, actually some of the cuttings I took early on are some of my biggest plants. So that was interesting. But I'd have to stop and think, when did I do that? I'm not a great gardener in that I don't take notes. I'm just trying to roll with it. But if you just a month before you want to plant them out, even just popped them in somewhere warm, they will sprout, or you can see if they're going to sprout so you don't waste your time not planting something that might not do well. Okay. And just stick, literally just take a little cake pan, throw some dirt in it and stick the necks out and just kind of keep it a little moist, but you don't want to soak it.
Okay. And no plastic wrap or anything. No.
The dahlias, you don't even, once they're sprouted, I actually maybe here and there dribbled a little water in there. Otherwise, they have a lot of moisture to get that first sprout.
Okay. And Betsy, you kind of addressed the topic of, is it worth it? Because I think that's probably the next thing. You mentioned fussy, but if you leave them in the ground, do you ever have them sprout again?
I don't know yet.
I think I've tried it and it's been unsuccessful. Or I've left them some on act. I'm pretty sure we tried it.
Here's my hot tip. Try this. If you have no time and you're like, oh man, I wish I could save them. I can't do this. Take a huge bale, get a bale of hay or straw, something large, and just lay it right on top wherever your dahlias are until the spring.
And just see.
And that might give it a little insulation and it might give it a little snow and rain protection.
Yeah.
Can't hurt.
No.
Yeah.
And then it's still good for the garden.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can use the hay later.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Just spread it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Okay. So the best type of dahlia to plant, if you're going to just do one, try Betsy's method, basically. Which one would you pick?
Well, it depends on what kind of color person you are.
Oh, okay.
Or style.
Okay.
Because I don't like the giant, dinner plate, frilly edged ones. I like the really tight.
Pommy.
Interesting. See, I like the big, huge ones.
Okay.
But part of it's coming from from the floral design side of it when we were ordering flowers for weddings, because everybody wants a big vase flower. You know, you need to fill out a bouquet. And in the spring, peonies are the flower of choice. And so dahlias kind of become the peony of the fall, you know, but they're fussy in a bouquet. And so especially when you're ordering them and they're getting shipped here, there is no guarantee that that is going to look good by the time the wedding hits. So if you can do them locally, it's even better. But that's where I love the big ones, like the cafe au lait. You know, so pretty, the color scheme on that. But even so, I feel like it will change throughout the season too, won't they? As they bloom and it gets later through the season, you're not going to be guaranteed the same color on the same plant, right?
That's what my breakout and my cafe au lait start off more colorful, and they almost lose or get a little less color as the season goes. Less pink in the cafe au lait and less yellow in the breakout. They become more mellow, if you will. Yeah. I love both.
You like all of it.
It's hard to pick once you see them. I have a new one this year called Blah Blah, which is not blah.
I've seen that one online.
Is it literally BLAH?
Yes.
Like
I think it might be blah, blah, blah.
Oh my word.
And it's not. It's really actually very cute. It's
What's the color?
It's like a cream. It's almost a little bit of a Dijon yellow. Just got enough in it that it's not a bright daffodil yellow. And then it's got a kind of an orangey scent. Rusty.
Okay.
A little smidge of pink in there. It's fun.
Oh, I know. See, and that's the best part. You start really analyzing each bloom up close. Yeah.
And then you
with
have to
any
kind of-
flower.
Well, and then you want to make a monochromatic bouquet, and you need all the different shapes.
Oh, I need more of this.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I love the peach hyacinths. I mean, anything in that tone is so pretty. So throwing it back over to the hyacinths.
All the sorbet colors.
And then, because we're going to run short on time, we need to talk through seeds.
Okay.
Which might be a surprise thinking seeds in the fall. But what should we throw into the ground? And this is even probably the easiest thing to do. Easier than bulbs, easier than dahlias, because you're not digging. What seeds can you plant in the fall?
So I haven't actually intentionally done this before, but every spring I will have my beds will just start like sending up all of the sunflowers and calendula.
Yes, the bellflower.
Calendula. That's
Yeah.
what I say.
I like those come up for me just on their own. And so this year I was like, why don't I just do this on purpose? Right. So I ordered sweet peas because I've had those come up on their own from years past. And I decided to try larkspur.
Yeah, I love larkspur.
That's what I'm doing. And I like spread all my calendula seeds everywhere. And when I spread them out in the like grassy, fieldy areas, they don't really come up that much. I think probably because I'm feeding the mice. But I still thought I'd give it a try and see what happens next year. So we'll see.
Yeah, I've got some Rudbeckia and some Helenium, and those are perennials, and I grew them from seed. But I actually, as the dead heads have been there, I'm just kind of deliberately sprinkling them.
Okay.
My goal this spring or this fall is to make a bed that I can start seeds 6 weeks before the frost.
Oh, wow.
So this is this gal, the gardener's workshop.
Okay.
Here's her little seed packets. Okay. She has like a 4-week, you can go on YouTube and she'll teach you how to do this and tell you the things.
Okay.
So we have seeds that we can, that will prefer the cold weather here. Bachelor's buttons. What did I get, guys?
Oh, I love bachelor's buttons.
I mean,
and of course, and you can
they
get
love
them in.
to be direct seeded. They hate. That's the thing. What else did I get? They're on the back. Bachelor's buttons. Buttons. Corn cockle. Oh, we have to talk about those.
Okay.
I have Nigella.
Okay, wait. I've got to see. You're doing eucalyptus?
I got these from her. Yeah, I'm going to try.
Okay.
I don't know.
If you get successful with eucalyptus, you have to tell us.
Yeah, I'm going to try, guys. It's hard to find seeds on eucalyptus at all anywhere.
That's
so
pretty
she
fun.
had them, so I grabbed them.
Yep.
So poppies.
Okay.
We're supposed to throw the poppy seeds in now.
See, and that was news to me. And that was Mackenzie wrote an article in our Kestrel Post and she has a specific poppy that I think she mentions in there. But this might be why I fail, because I want our hillside, which is grass, natural, and all that. I keep wanting poppies to just be there, on the hillside. And I've been throwing out the seed in the spring, wrong time of year. I'm hoping that's the problem.
Yeah, they like that cold. And then they'll freeze, and then they'll germinate early when it's cool. So the cool flowers, I love this whole idea, and I've been listening while making dinner or something to the YouTube video. But I have the Love in a Mist, and I also have some larkspur from Floret. But
you should show off some of your Floret stuff, because the Floret, if you haven't gotten the Floret seeds, the packaging is gorgeous. And then
Balmoral, the sweet pea is a beautiful pink. So I just have a few more colors of sweet peas. 1, 2,
Just a
3,
few.
Just a
Just
few.
added a couple to my card.
9.
It seems like you're not doing that much, and then you start planting the seeds.
I know.
You're like, oh,
This is a lot.
how did I end up with 19 varieties? Oops.
So I'm gonna throw the poppies out now. I've got
Okay.
a bunch of different poppies, and just try one spot and see what likes it.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna make sure I have a space ready, and maybe put just a tarp or some of my landscapey fabric over it, so that when it's still early April, I'm gonna throw out a bunch of things, maybe even mid-March. We'll
And
see.
then you'll
because
keep
they're
the
not gonna
tarp.
germinate if they can't handle it.
Right. So the idea is to warm your soil. No, it's not. It's all cold soil. That's what you're trying to do. Okay. But you still put the tarp on top of it after you... No. Okay, I'm going to have to go listen.
You got to.
The gardener's workshop, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But if you can just get a spot or think of a spot and just have some, good compost, or it's a nice rich soil, and think that's where I'm going to try this.
Okay.
Go for it this year. Listen to her little descriptions, and I'm going to put the corn cockle there too.
Yeah.
And Amy likes to start really early. The false Queen Anne slays. So anyway,
See, that's exciting.
I know, because we don't have flowers usually. We just have bulbs early. So I'm going to try to get a bunch of things for that dead, and that's her whole point. This is when you can get so many flowers that you didn't know you could get.
Oh, well, it'll be fun to try it and to hear about, because when we talked about seeds in the spring, I think people want to start seeds too soon here, and then it's not ready to be
Right.
put
You can't
outside.
transplant them
And
out
so
yet.
then they might get leggy and all of that happens. Okay, but
Oh, and scabiosa. I don't have my scabiosa, but those are also ones to throw outside in the spring. And
In the spring.
Yes, and those just bloom. They're like zinnias. They just go and go and go, and you can just cut them and go.
okay, before we end,
Yes.
you had put these aside. So we
I
need
have to
talk
tell you
this.
about this. If you go to the gardener's workshop, you can get some of these Cosmos apricota.
See anything apricot.
Yeah. Okay, you're going to have a few of these
Yes.
for the podcast. So yeah, this is a new. It's a new variety, and it's a creamy apricot color. It's beautiful.
Is it a single layer? Is it a
single?
Okay.
It's not too.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a bunch of
Extra.
else going on. I wish I had a picture.
Yeah, I know.
Look it up online.
Yep.
But I'm really excited about that one because my Cosmos are still all going. I did
Well,
a flat
Cosmos
of-
do so great.
I started a flat of 50 and just put little plugs in, and I just have had blooms for months.
Oh, I love it. Well, and they love to be cut too, right?
Yes.
So, most
more-
things,
Yes.
the more you cut, the better they'll do for cut flowers. Yeah. See, I'm just hoping we have to get our well drilled because our biggest problem right now is watering the flowers, which is in its own way. We had sweet peas that survived basically without being watered here on the Palouse. We would take buckets over occasionally. And I'd done the lasagna method where we'd put the cardboard down and then stuff on top of it. So they survived, which is impressive. And like one pumpkin plant did it, with this being occasional hand watering and occasional being the key thing. So we'll see if we get any pumpkins off that plant because they've been pretty little. But that puts its own stressor on the plant. And yet at the same time, it's kind of encouraging that, hey, at least something grew. And I was really grateful when I was cutting my little sweet peas. It's like, yes.
Yes.
Any little bit of success will make you want to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And try it again.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and also don't be afraid to try something.
Oh, no.
Because even if something doesn't go well, you learn something.
You always do.
And seeds are cheap.
Yeah, they really
I mean,
are.
it's less than a cup of Starbucks.
Yeah. Right. And then especially if it does go,
what a bounty.
Yeah. So much reward on that.
So much fun.
Okay. Any last tips and thoughts before we run out of film space?
I don't think so. I'm just excited to like lean more into this side of things.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. We'll report back in the spring.
Yeah,
I know we will need a follow up in the spring because there's always something to be learning, which is really
absolutely.
fun.
You bet.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next week.